Sports stories from the 419 in Northwest Ohio, brought to you by a voice you know. It's time to go around the area and around the Hearn.
Talking girls basketball, the head coach of the Division VI state champion Columbus Grove Bulldogs in Brian Schroeder. And are you ever going to get tired of hearing that introduction?
I don't think so. It's been pretty awesome and kind of a dream come true. So I enjoy hearing that phrase.
Well, and it's kind of that odd thing of you guys lost the regional finals. You had that heartbreak last year, knew you were coming back after losing three captains who were just an integral part of what you've been building the last handful of years. But did you kind of come into this year of knowing, all right, Lauren's playing out of her mind, our juniors are playing out of their mind, we have high hopes of we can get back to the regional finals and we can go further this year?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we had high expectations coming in. We knew that we had the talent and the experience that we could maybe put something together as long as everybody stayed healthy and we were peaking at the right time. And last year, Abby and Jade and Bella, our three seniors, did a really good job of leading the team. And they brought a lot of intangibles to the roster and to the team. But we also knew that we had a lot of points returning and a lot of length and athleticism. And we were really excited going into the year. We knew that, like you said, this was probably the most talented team that we had ever had, talent in terms of length and athleticism. And obviously Lauren just, being an all-state player. So we didn't know what the season would look like. We maybe knew we were in the handful of teams that we thought could compete for a state title. But by no means did we think that we were guaranteed to have the season that we had.
Well, plus you have that oddity of the same thing that everybody's talked about for, it feels like forever, and just kind of beating the horse of we're now 7 divisions. You have to wait because the Northwest District liked to play around and see kind of what was going to happen with that. But you also had to kind of wait with the success of the soccer program of just kind of figuring out who am I going to be able to put on the floor and when.
Yeah, the soccer team had a great season, a historic season for their program, and got to the state semifinals. All of our players, varsity players, I should say, play either soccer or volleyball. So, we were crossing our fingers that everybody would come into basketball healthy. As I've gotten older or I've coached longer, I've been more patient with players in terms of giving them time off. I think it's extremely important physically for them to get an appropriate amount of time off, and even more so mentally. They're coming off highly stressful single elimination tournament games where it's do or die, and to expect them to show up the next day or within the next few days of practice and be locked in, to sort of building the team that you want to build, I think is a tough ask. So, personally, we give them a week off, varsity players. And I think that's really helped us and really helped them be focused from day one.
I've talked to enough girls basketball coaches that they have said a lot of boys coaches couldn't be girls coaches because it's not just about the game. It's about kind of personalities and about management a little bit more. But how much did you kind of have to struggle to tell the girls, like, when I said take a week off, I mean go away, come back next week?
Yeah, it just depends on the player and depends on the year. I think I've done that for several years now, so they kind of know that's the expectation. They'll say, "Coach, can we come in and shoot around, while you guys practice?" And a couple years ago it was yes, and now it's no. Like, if you want to shoot before school and get some shots up, that's fine, but I don't want you to be tempted to hop into maybe a drill or a shooting thing that you want to do, or me, frankly, to be tempted to, hey, we got an odd number, Lauren, watch, come over here and so we can go 4-on-4. So It's been, like I said, it's been good. I coach. This is the first year I did not coach football in the fall for quite some time. And but when I was coaching football, it was tough. It was, as a coach, coming off a full season, whether it's high school or junior high, and being dialed in right from the get go. So there's definitely some physical as well as mental fatigue that plays in a part, and it's important that our athletes are given an appropriate amount of time off.
I would have told him go down the street, get some ice cream, go to the park, and shoot your own hoops.
I'm sure they would have done that too.
While you're at it, bring me back ice cream, then go shoot the hoops. But is that now a thing where you can't coach football anymore? Because, I mean, you're 1-for-1 in winning state titles without football.
That's a good point. I guess the circumstances surrounding that was my family farms. We have my uncle has a swine farm, and my dad and other uncle farm a considerable amount of ground, and so we picked up some land. And my dad's getting older, as am I, but he's wanting to sort of transition into basketball too.
I honestly believe that you should take the girls out and have them chase the pigs around, because that would pretty much show quick hands, quick feet, right?
That is. I bet Ruth Meyer would be amazing at that. Yeah, trying to get a hurdle out and load the hogs up in the trailer. That's an idea.
That didn't come from me. I'm not taking the heat for that one. I have to ask, for a lot of people who don't know, the big deal with your name on shirts, your picture on shirts. Where exactly did the nickname Mr. Intensity come from?
That's a good question. So it was the 2015-16 team, and that was the first year that we competed for a district title. So it was in the district finals game. We had a really good group, and there was a local pastor that went to some of our games and took pictures. So I was at the Elida Fieldhouse, and I am yelling at, voicing my displeasure at Linnea Diller on the free throw line. And he kind of caught that moment. And he must have showed somebody from Grove that picture, and they said, "Man, that looks like a Sports Illustrated cover." So I think his name's Dave Boquist. And he did just a tremendous job of putting that picture on a, pretend, I guess, Sports Illustrated cover. And he gifted that to me at the end of the season. And it was at Hawker's Bar and Grill. You used to be Grillers. So that picture was up there as well. And I don't know how this students in high school now caught wind of that in that picture, but yeah, it just kind of became a thing.
I believe that means that you should get free food when you go there, right? Because you're like an art installation just hanging up on the wall.
That I would love that, but that probably wouldn't be very good for my health. But yeah,
I think you just need a better agent.
Yep, probably.
Speaking of the field house, a little bit different this year. There's a lot of back and forth about, the boys didn't play their state semis in high school gyms, but you guys did. I know that the Elida Fieldhouse is it's a special venue. It's kind of more of an arena than it is a high school gym. But, I mean, you guys have played there before, obviously, during the season. Did you even think about it at any point, or was it just, hey, that's where they said the game's at?
The second one, definitely. I was fortunate enough to be a JV coach on the boys basketball team in 2006 with Troy Schwemley when we made it to state. And, that was just such an awesome experience to be able to go down for the state semifinal game, stay with your team and go out to eat and watch other games and all those other fun things and just play in a college, big time college arena. So that experience was really cool. It provided some lifelong memories for those players. So I was, part of me was a little bummed that, potentially either us or Minster wouldn't get to experience that part of it. But on the flip side, it's still, to me, that's the mecca of of high school basketball for our area. I love the arena. The people at Elida do a tremendous job of making it a special event for you and your players. So it is an awesome place to play. It's right between us and Minster. Super convenient for both communities to show up, and it was just an awesome environment. So, do I wish that maybe, Minster and could have experienced, the quote unquote state experience of staying maybe in a hotel and going out to eat. I think that's pretty cool, but it was also a really, really awesome environment. And frankly, it was louder and I think in some ways more intense than our state final game.
It almost makes it feel more personal.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the fans are right there. The fans are a lot closer in terms of proximity to the court. So yeah, it was definitely it's a game I always remember. That's for sure.
Well, and it's a crazy thing too, because with obviously having Audubon behind you, you've got all of Putnam County in the building rooting you on. They end up playing Loramie, who brings a lot of their own folks, and they're rooting on Minster and just for good basketball. But you go in and you kind of look at the line and you say, Minster. Do you immediately just pull out your hard hat, pull out your lunchbox of, I'm definitely going to have to get the girls to key in because we know this is going to be a battle?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Wiss just does an amazing job. They, him and before him, Nan Stexelty. I mean, they just have a monster of a program there, and their girls are going to be coached up. They're going to be super physical, aggressive, athletic. They're going to be, it's basically like OG. You cover OG girls and the man-to-man defense they play, and Minster's the same way. So. That you're going to have to be strong with the basketball and take care of it to give yourself a chance at winning. And we really didn't do a very good job of that. We had 20 plus turnovers, but thankfully we were able to shoot well enough, and Lauren made a big play at the end for us.
I'm always fascinated by how coaches kind of go about things. I know the season is long, going from October, November into March of. You have a lot of common opponents with Minster and, obviously Audubon with how you guys played them, how they played them, and them beating them at their house. Are you able to glean anything from that, or was that because it was game 2, 3 of the season, they're a different animal?
Yeah, the second one. I mean, they got some, like I mentioned, their coaching staff does such a tremendous job, and their girls work really hard. They're so much better at the end of the season than they were at the beginning. And so, yeah, I mean, I watched that game, but I wasn't able to, develop a game plan, or it didn't offer a whole lot of insight that, maybe we didn't see from some of the other games later in the year.
This season, obviously special for you, Coach Dad. How does that dynamic work?
That's a good question. My daughters have been around the program, just as managers and just kind of hanging out with Dad, for, as long as I've done it, frankly. And so my oldest daughter, Ava, is a sophomore on the team, but, she's had some shoulder issues. So, she had surgery, I think over a year ago now, but it's still not to the point where she can play sports yet, but so she's still kind of in that same role. She helps us with clock and keeping track of certain things at practice. She'll charge certain things for me. So definitely cool that we can share in the moment. I make sure that for my wife that we're always beside each other in team pictures, and that's important. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Is that kind of thing harder though, with not being able to turn and at any point in a game to put her in? Is it harder as a coach or a dad?
Probably more of a dad. I mean, she's a sophomore, so she would have been on the JV team. And so when it was actually this past summer that, she went to like her first summer practice. And she just knew that she couldn't do it. Her shoulder hurt. She was in tears. So we had the conversation after practice that, how do you want to manage this? And, we came to the conclusion that the best course of action would be for her to not play. It's just too much pain and we don't want to do anything long term. And so that was really hard. It was hard on her and it was hard for me to see her suffer like that. But she's done great with it. Like I said, she stayed super involved and super positive and brings great energy on the bench.
You go through the season, you guys go through Minster, you get down to state. How different is that experience on the floor because of the long timeouts and because you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, how you would normally do of
right.
The girls want to walk out there after the intros and you have to grab them and now kind of find a joke or say something to them of, all right, we got to wait another 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually contacted some local coaches that had coached at state, Troy Yant, Dave Clayman, Mark Gregory, Jeremy Best, and those guys were awesome. They really were. They're very accommodating. I'd send them texts at various times that maybe weren't super convenient to them, and they always offered a ton of great advice. So I had an idea going in of how I wanted to manage some of those things. We actually played a simulated half of basketball on Wednesday where we had TV timeouts. So the girls could kind of get used to that and used to normally on a timeout, I am right in the huddle following them and we're immediately going over in-game adjustments because you only have 30 to 45 seconds and they got to get back out there. So I told them, hey, on TV timeouts, you're going to have extra time, communicate with each other, share, maybe some insight that you guys are seeing out there offensively and defensively. I'm going to be talking to, our assistant coaches. So you're going to have more time built in. And so we went through that and like I said, played a simulated half. I feel like that helped us, and in the game, it was pretty smooth actually. And granted, we got off to a 20-2 start. So I'm sure that had more to do with it than anything else.
I know that I was sitting there on press row in the first quarter and there was the tip. And I looked down for a couple of minutes to text my wife or to do something. I looked back up and it was 18-2. And I thought, well, this is going pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Mike Tyson had a quote, and so I'm showing my age a little bit here, but something to the effect that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And so, I read that right before, or that came across my phone right before tournament. I thought, you know what, that's really good. So, we want to make sure we throw the first punch. We want to punch them in the mouth first. So, I thought the majority of our games, there's a couple, the Minster and Crestview game where we got behind a little bit to start, but our players did a phenomenal job of throwing that first punch, being the aggressor right from the get-go, and kind of getting the lead and being able to settle in from there.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask this. When you get that big lead, you guys go out at the half and it just feels like you're up 100 and you've thrown a wall at them. Was there any conversation or thought, I guess, in your head of, all right, we got out big on a PH in the first half. We have to make sure we don't have a lull coming out in the third quarter to let them get back in.
Yeah, we talk about that. Anytime we have a lead, our mindset is we tell the girls, our mindset, it's 0-0. So, it's a tie game and every possession matters. It's critical. I don't want them to be passive offensively with that much time on the clock because then the other team becomes the aggressor, and all of a sudden you're out there and your players aren't trying to score. They're not being aggressive with their drive opportunities and things like that. So I didn't really think about the PH game at all. I thought that was a little bit of a unique game in the sense that it was very similar to Rootstown. We were up double digits, but I thought going into the second half, it seemed like the officials had talked at halftime and made the decision that they needed to tighten things up. And that happens. And so I think we had like 3 fouls called on us in the first minute or minute and a half and got into a little bit of foul trouble. And our players did not do a good enough job of adjusting to the game being called differently. And so it kind of slowed down. Nicole got into foul trouble. They were scoring a lot of points at the free throw line. So I thought we had learned from that experience, and we are doing a better job did a better job of adjusting to maybe officials calling the game a little bit different throughout the game.
I know you were asked this, I believe, in the post-game press conference, but I would be remiss, again, if I did not ask this for people who didn't hear it. Speaking of foul trouble, you get Lauren in foul trouble. She's got 3 in the second quarter, and I just happened to be sitting behind your bench when this happened. You decide with a couple of minutes to try to put her back in the game. How much faith do you have to have in a star like that, in her ability to play the last 2-3 minutes and not pick up number 4?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, right? It's trust. You got to trust in her that she's not going to put herself in a bad spot. You also have to trust in her teammates that they're not going to put her in a bad spot. You know, we play zone, and we're pretty aggressive with our zone, especially at the top of the zone and with the positioning and angles. And so because of that, we do give up some straight line drives in which the back line, Lauren, Nicole and Allison or Aubrey or whoever's playing the back line of our 2-3 have to clean some things up. And so because of that, when Nicole's in foul trouble or Lauren's in foul trouble, we adjust our positioning and adjust our angles up front to not give up as many of those drives, just to protect our back line a little bit more. So not only are you trusting Lauren to not make a poor decision, but you're also trusting the players around her. And they played a lot of basketball. They're super experienced, so we definitely trust them quite a bit. I'm definitely not in the coaching school of thought where, if they have 2 fouls in the second, you got to sit them, or 3 in the third, you got to sit them. To me, I think some coaches sometimes foul their own players out midway through the game because you're not going to get those minutes back. And frankly, those minutes could lose you the game. So we trust our players and trust their teammates to make good decisions.
I just assumed it was a little bit like the water boy. Last game of the year, Brent, can't hold anything back.
Yeah, that too.
You get 5 players that score in the game, 4 in double figures. You guys balance pretty much among that group. But the one thing that struck me as I was watching that game from up high was Nicole Nesby just absolutely showed out. 13 points, 16 rebounds. She also has a handful of assists. What was it about her that she just felt on fire and that she was just going to dominate anything that came off the rim?
Yeah, I mean, she just kept getting better and better as the season wore on. We knew she was obviously a extremely talented player, but and I don't have all the game sheets in front of me, but the Margaretta game honestly sticks out quite a bit. Their best player was a post player, did a lot of things really, really well. And Nicole just completely, I thought, dominated that game. They had a player that's, I know, is getting recruited. She's a junior getting recruited to some D2 schools. And I think Nicole had like 10 rebounds and 14 points and held her to, well under her scoring average. So I thought that was a huge, confidence booster for her. I guess going back before then, we played Fort Jennings, and Maggie Puttis is one of the best post players in the area. And Maggie's kind of gotten the best of Nicole maybe a couple times. And this year, Nicole just played amazing. Like, she just had a great game. I think she had a double-double. So I think it was sort of a long time coming where she had key moments throughout the season that she could draw confidence from. And come tournament time, she was obviously a huge part of our success.
I had said to a lot of people throughout the course of the postseason, everybody's going to key on Lauren. All right, everyone knows this, that Allison and Kendall Palti and Nicole Nesby and Aubrey were just going to have to be those players that came in and made those big things. But how did you get all of the girls to kind of accept their role, or did you even have to throughout the course of the season of this is going to need done? Who's going to go do it?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a player-led thing. At the beginning of the year, Lauren was definitely having to shoulder the bulk of the scoring. And she's just such a talented player that she was able to do that and carry us quite a bit. And, as the season progressed and our juniors got more experience and gained more confidence and got more reps, they were able to do some more things. I think a big moment, honestly, was the Arlington game. First quarter, the Arlington game, Lauren came down and twisted her ankle and was out the rest of the game. And, I felt like, okay, Arlington's a good team, but I think we'll still be okay with the players that we have, but a little bit worried about, mentally and psychologically how they'll respond to not having Lauren out there on the court. And they just played lights out after that. And so that was, for me, and I'm sure for them, a big confidence booster as well, knowing that even if our best players, injured or maybe she's in foul trouble or what have you, that we can still put a really, really good team out on the court that can share the ball and score points.
A lot of coaches are coming to a realization of win or loss in the state finals, state semis, whatever it is, that this is the last time I'm going to have this group together. You're going to have 95% of your team back next year. You lose just a transcendent player in Lauren. But how much does that kind of build the confidence for what you'll be able to do next year?
I hope quite a bit. I'll see, even going back to last summer, this team just had a confidence about them. I think, with Lauren, having 3 years of varsity experience, I'm talking about the summer between her junior and senior year. And, our juniors had a year of varsity experience, and, going to the Bluffton team camp and the Ohio Northern team camp and the Findlay team camp, they walked around with, just a sense of confidence, like they knew they were going to win the game. And that basically carried over all throughout the season. So it will be interesting. It's easy to be confident when you have the best player on the court pretty much every game. So, the juniors, obviously Lauren is who she is, and she has confidence in her abilities, but I think her teammates, exuded confidence because they had Lauren on their team. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it'll be interesting to see how confident we are this summer and going into the next season without Lauren. I would like to think because of their experience and success that will continue on. But it'll be interesting to see how we look this summer and going into next year.
Maybe she flunked her class and you have to have her back for another year to complete it.
Hey, I have her in stats. I could always make that happen. Absolutely.
It would be amusing. Of all the things that she flunked, stats. Wait a second.
Hey, whatever it takes, man.
I don't think stats is what happened. But the thing that jumped out to me is Vanessa Rothman at Holgate was just a terrific player. She has more points than her, and I feel like they did it in a different way. But to have those two be in the same breath, I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, I'm looking at, we have a bank. We're trying to figure out a day when we can have our basketball banquet. So I am not somebody that could wing it. So, I'm trying to prepare a speech and, looking at, what can I say about Lauren? And it's just overwhelming to look at the list of accomplishments, and to be able
It'll probably take the whole banquet.
Yeah. It is pretty mind boggling, some of the things that she's been able to accomplish. So that just is a testament to the type of player she is, how hard of a worker she is, the talented player that she is, but also, the players that she has around her, because, she's not breaking some of these records if she's not going deep into, these tournament runs. And so you got to have really, really good teammates that around you for you to be able to accomplish some of what she's accomplished.
I think you should just have her dad stand there with cue cards that he's handwritten, so you don't get the writer's cramp, and he just cycles through them while you're talking.
Hey, he keeps our scorebook, so we could maybe have him do that one last time for me.
But obviously, this team is so special. You get back to Grove, and I've been fortunate to see the toilet papering that goes on uptown. But as you're coming through all the fire trucks, and did you ever just stop smiling for even 1 second?
That was pretty awesome. I mean, when, our community, just like, all other small communities, have their traditions and really cool things about them. And, I'm sure that's probably beyond Putnam County, but that's definitely something in Putnam County where, your town's fire trucks escort you into town. And if you do something, very significant, then you toilet paper the town square. But as we were coming into town, not only was our town's fire trucks there, but a fire truck from each municipality or each village in Putnam County. And to me, that got me. It did a little bit to know that the whole county, is or at least some members in the county are willing to take the time and effort to drive a fire truck over and, on a Saturday night and escort our team into town. That's extremely selfless and just seeing the girls' faces on all the fire trucks, escorting us in. That was definitely a really, really cool moment for me.
Well, the videos are amazing, and I can't say enough thank yous and congratulations to you and the girls.
Well, thank you, man. It was definitely a dream come true.
That's Brian Schroeder, the head coach of the Division 6 state champion Columbus Grove Bulldogs. When you need high-quality hardwood flooring services in the Northwest Ohio area, look no further than Heritage Floors. Our local family-owned company has been installing beautiful hardwood floors in homes, schools, and businesses since 1987. Whether you have a small residential project or a large commercial job, you can count on us to produce exceptional results at an honest and fair price. For a free estimate, please contact us today at 419-523-5556 or by email at herfloors523@gmail.com or on our website, heritagefloors.net, or on Facebook to get more information.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Around the Hearn. Come back next week for more local stories from the NWO. But until then, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Michael Hearn PBP for more great area content.